Hey everybody, welcome to Narrative Live. It's nice to be with you once again. We've got some big stories happening tonight. Really excited about them. Hey Tracie McElroy, how are you?
I'm doing great, Zeb. Hi, everybody.
We do have some big news today, especially about Donald Trump Jr. and his testimony. So that's coming up. Plus, we're going to talk about that Lindsey Graham resign hashtag that's everywhere. And you've got a big story about Donald Trump's taxes as well.
Yeah, there was a big court hearing today that we're going to learn about.
So plenty to come your way here on Narrative Live. And we begin on the starting block. That sounds very official, doesn't it, Tracy? I like the
I
sound of
love
it.
it. You're
Makes me want to
like
go.
you're a genius when it comes to this stuff.
I just steal stuff from from wherever I can quite well. And on the starting block today, peaches and mint. That's our segment, all about serving peaches and mint because it's impeachment season, we believe, in DC. Tracy was going to take over a jar of peaches and mint with them, like a mint julep with some peaches would be
I
nice.
would love to take a mint julep right over there to Capitol Hill.
You serve it up and see if anyone encourages them to do a little bit more freewheeling with that impeachment that they should be doing because so much is going on. But first, let's tell you about what's happening in the news today. Donald Trump will now do what every citizen should do when subpoenaed, and he'll testify before the Senate Intelligence Committee. That's happened just a few hours ago, a couple of hours ago, a big breaking news development. And they had to negotiate a deal with an ordinary citizen. I don't know why this happens, but apparently that's how it works. They did come up with a deal. A private meeting with the senators will happen in mid-June, so over a month away. 45 hours long and 6 topics to come up in that conversation. So, I mean, I could think of more than six, but there's certainly a few that have been floating around that are,
Yeah, and I think
pretty
I think
predictable.
there's two that most people would be aware of, but the third I'm not so sure.
Well, the third is, I happened to sneak a peek at Mr. Burr's to-do list here. This is not really Mr. Burr's to-do list, but if it were his to-do list, these are the things he might want to ask Don Jr. about. We know about the Trump Tower Moscow, and we know about the Dirt on Hillary meeting, which was the other Trump Tower meeting with Natalia Veselnitskaya. Remember the one where they were offering dirt, but actually they landed up talking about adoption, or so they claimed. But there is a third meeting, and it's happened on August the 3rd of 2016. It's been discussed a little bit, but it has not become a big issue. And I don't really know why it hasn't become a big issue. We wrote about it in the Salvador Mundi story that we did earlier this year. And it certainly goes in with the theory that we have and others have that there is more than just Trump Russia. That there's Trump Russia plus Saudi Arabia plus the UAE plus maybe China. A whole smorgasbord of conspiracy by different countries around the world.
If we're going with peaches, mint, food, great,
Yeah,
great analogies, Zeb.
yeah. You walk into a buffet table, it's every country in the world that's going up against you, not just one. Why just choose the one? So there was a meeting on August the 3rd. There actually really was one. And it involved Eric Prince at Donald Trump Jr.'s office. The other attendees, George Nader, who's an emissary for the UAE Crown Prince and the Saudi Arabian Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman. And then there's Joel Zammel, who's a specialist in social media manipulation from Israel, because they've got to be at the table. Donald Trump Jr. was there, and so was what's the guy's name? Stephen Miller was there too, just because you got to have a nice table of groups representing different countries and different ideals, and they all met and apparently discussed, according to the New York Times, a plan for the Saudi Arabians to pay for a social manipulation effort by the Zammel's side group in order to influence the campaign for Donald Trump. Now, Eric Prince was an Al Jazeera. So, yeah, sorry, you can ask me
I
after.
was
But
just,
go ahead.
it's okay, Zeb. I just wanted to point out how really important this is, and I want people to think about this. This is the Senate Intel Committee that is subpoenaing him. Don't forget, still a very active counterintelligence investigation going on into the Trumps and into their campaign. The two are very much related.
They are, and there is a counterintelligence report that I believe is already being circulated in places. So it feels to me like this could be a very important topic for the senators of the Intelligence Committee to be asking this question. And it may be why they've been so insistent to have him come before them and explain, in addition to all the other testimony which is already done. Now, Eric Prince recently was on Al Jazeera, in a brilliant interview. And Eric Prince was at that meeting too, but he also appeared to lie to the Congress when he gave his closed-door testimony as well. He said that there was no such meeting. No such meeting took place in Seychelles, or just a little meeting took place in Seychelles. There was nothing on August the 3rd and nothing in...
on August the 3rd, they were just having one beer.
Yeah, nothing happened. So... only that's not really the case, as we now know. And in this, you got to watch this clip. It's absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen it, from Al Jazeera a few weeks ago, Eric Prince gets grilled about that August 3rd meeting and comes out empty-handed. Take a look.
How come you didn't mention that meeting to Congress, given it's so relevant to their investigation?
I did. As part of the investigations, I certainly disclosed any meetings. The very few I had.
Not in the congressional testimony you gave to the House. We went through it. You didn't mention anything about August 2016 meeting in Trump Tower. They specifically asked you what context you have, and you didn't answer that.
I don't believe I was asked that question.
You were asked, were there any formal communications or contact with the campaign? You said, apart from writing papers, putting up yard signs, no. That's what you said. I've got the transcript of the conversation here.
Sure. I mean, I might have been, I think I was at Trump headquarters, or the campaign headquarters.
Trump Tower, August 3rd, 2016. You,
possible.
An Israeli dude, a back channel to the Emiratis and the Saudis, Don Jr., Stephen Miller.
We're there to talk about Iran policy.
Are you there to talk about Iran policy? Mm-hmm. Don't you think that's something important to disclose to the House Intelligence Committee while you're under oath?
I did.
You didn't. We just went through the testimony. There's no mention of the Trump Tower meeting in August 2016. Why not?
I don't know if they got the transcript wrong.
Oh, they got the transcript.
I love that. I got the transcript wrong.
Two things I want to point out about that interview. First of all, that is journalism goals right there.
Brilliant.
What
Brilliant
an
stuff.
interview. Holding his feet to the fire. I loved it. Second of all, I caught a little bit about talking about Iran policy in that clip.
You're absolutely right. It's not only that he didn't reveal this really important meeting, he also turns out to have spoken about Iran. And, this was August 2016 when this meeting happened. It's look what's happening in the world right now. We're building up a military presence to go to war with Iran. So let's say that this current activity is related back to that August 3rd, 2016 meeting. It would be potentially a quid pro quo of some sort. If, say, Israel wanted help or the Saudis wanted help in attacking Iran. And let's imagine that at that August 3rd meeting, they said, we'll pay for your social media manipulation campaign if you do all this other stuff for us. We'll make you president if you do all this other stuff for us.
Seems to me that would be something the Senate Intel Committee would want to find out.
It's the kind of thing you wouldn't really let the son of the president of the United States, even if it's Donald Trump's son, walk away from an interview like that. You would be insistent that he show up because you got some questions. And they're good questions, so you want to ask them. So that's our take on the Donald Trump Jr. hearings. And there's so much more coming up in tonight's show. And Tracie's got the next big one right after this. It's a big newsflash, I think. Oh, there it is. Newsflash. Ah.
Show me the money.
Looking good, but I think I'm taking too long.
Spot for a Glock. I took a long overfloss, but still got a knock.
Money! I'm not proud, Jerry. Does that make you feel good just to say that? Say it with me one time, Jerry. Show you the money.
Ah.
I love
Great.
it. I love that movie so much. I
Great
was so
clip.
glad that I could get that clip in there.
That is so good. Tom Cruise was like 20 years ago, a long time. Show me the money.
Gosh,
Good
I
stuff.
hope it wasn't that long ago because then I'm super old if it was.
We both have been checking that age limit a little bit lately. So you got a huge story today. Has to do with showing you the money. And tell me a little bit more about
Yes.
what money's going to be shown.
Yes, there was a court hearing today over Trump's financials. And if I'm going to go with the theme, show me the money, I had to go with you had me at financials, guys.
Sounds good to me. It's a good one.
So my Rep Cummings from Maryland, he sent a subpoena to the accounting firm who holds on to and manages all of Trump's financials for several years. Well, Trump, he was like, no, I'm not having that. I'm going to sue you to block the subpoena because no one's getting my financial records.
Sued the company or sued the congressman?
He sued the oversight committee.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So this actually had a court hearing today in D.C. And I'm going to just sum it up for you real quick.
But we want to hear from Mr. Cummings, don't we?
Yes, we do. This is my apologies. Here's what my rep Cummings had to say when he found out that Trump was suing him.
Let's take a look.
But they have not given us one document upon our requests. And so they basically, the American people said in the last election, we want to hold Donald Trump accountable. But Joy, it's impossible to hold him accountable if we don't get any information. And he's trampling on the Constitution.
Trampling on the Constitution. I love
on the Constitution.
Elijah Cummings.
I had to end that clip right there because that just says it all.
There are many people who still don't call this a constitutional crisis. I'm like, it's one thing if one subpoena was being ignored. That would be a constitutional crisis just there. This is a multitude of constitutional crises all happening at one time. So anyone who's out there repeating Republican talking points, and these are Republican talking points, that this is not a constitutional crisis, does not have a clue what they're talking about. This is definitely a constitutional crisis. When you have so many courts firing up, trying to figure out all these limitations of power and the distribution of power, it is a constitutional crisis. But I digress. Let's take us back to court today, Tracie.
Well, it is a constitutional crisis when the president is suing the chair of the oversight committee.
Yeah, there's a good one, yes.
But let's take a look at what actually happened in this court hearing today. I have a little bit of an overview for you guys.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, I'm going to sum it up. Here's what Trump's lawyer had to say. Basically, it's a partisan witch hunt. They want to put the president in jail. There is no legislative need for this info. Okay, so Cummings' lawyer says, we need to know if the president of the United States is beholden to foreign interests that can blackmail him.
So this is the Oversight Committee's lawyer saying they are at least want the information because they must have reason to suspect that there are foreign interests that could blackmail the president for them to be asking this particular question. That's their line of questioning. That's interesting.
Exactly right. And there were quite a few great quotes from the judge today. It did not go well for Donald Trump and his lawyers and his team. But this was, this one was one of my favorite. Say a president was involved in some corrupt enterprise. You mean to tell me because he is president of the United States, Congress would not have power to investigate? Well, that
he has
was
it his way. Yes.
Else.
Yeah.
We're going to stay tuned for this, because he's fast-tracking this. The judge said, I'm not going to make a ruling today. I'm going to give you 2 more days to supply me with any additional evidence. Wow. And I'm going to close this record on the 18th, which is Saturday.
The 18th? So we might have the tax records of the president of the United States by...
No. This will go to appeal.
Right.
No matter what the outcome is. So I don't think we're going to have any of the information on the 19th of May. But it's definitely a story we need to follow.
And it's fast-tracking pretty quickly. And what's really important about it is it could land up in the Supreme Court, hence constitutional crisis. But it is fast-tracking. This was originally meant to take several months. And it seems like it's going a lot quicker.
Speaking of beer, should we be prepared to deliver some beer to the Supreme Court? I hear Kavanaugh likes that a lot.
He does. I was surprised he had a hearing, a ruling yesterday that was quite liberally minded. So I'm not holding out any hope, but maybe there is some there. If beer is going to help, let's do it. Speaking of beer, I don't actually know speaking of at all here, but as if anyone knows where Lindsey Graham is, can you please let us know? Because the real Lindsey Graham appears to be lost, and we have that story coming up next on Narrative Live.
Our founding fathers drafted a charter to assure the rule of law and the rights of man.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.
Those ideals still light the world, and we will not give them up for expedience sake.
Let freedom ring from every hill and molehill of Mississippi, from every mountainside.
America is the land where dreams can come true for all of us.
When we allow freedom ring,
Flags of freedom fly all over Europe.
from every village and every hamlet, from every state,
That peace
every
and
city,
freedom walk together.
we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles,
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
Welcome back to Narrative Live. I don't mind that promo one bit, Tracie. That's
Seth,
inside.
that is such a powerful video.
I
You
really
did
like it.
such a
thank you.
wonderful job. I don't, I tweeted this to you last night. I was in tears after watching our promo for Patreon and that video, that clip that you put together, because it so clearly is our mission. Freedom and truth is what we as Americans deserve. And, we want to keep bringing that to everyone.
Thank you, Tracie. I was getting really frustrated last week or the week before because I was like, there's so much at stake here, and people keep talking about these minutiae things that are happening every day. We're talking about, if someone's going to show up for a hearing or a subpoena and all this like inside baseball stuff, but that's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about the very essence of what America is and what liberalism has meant, in the smaller liberalism has meant around the world. These are fundamental rights that, without this kind of system, we would not have equality for women. We would not have equality for black people. We would not have equality for gay people. This is how these things are won, through processes that democracy gives you. And what we're giving up, I don't know why America seems so excited about this, or parts of America seem so excited about it. They were just wanting to give it up because, the economy's going to be good for a couple of years. Is it really worth it to have a good economy for a couple of years? So I got so frustrated. I just thought I'm going to go back and see all these great inspirational quotes to lift me up a little bit. But then I was like, I'll put a little video together because it really is what we're about. And hopefully, hopefully it strikes a chord with as many people as possible. Let's move on to the segment we have right now, which is Where's Lindsey Graham? Where is Lindsey Graham? We know where he is, but the real Lindsey Graham.
I saw a wanted poster at the post office the other day.
Well, I mean, Lindsey Graham used to be a good guy. By all accounts, everyone used to think of him as the more like sober-minded guy in the Senate for the Republicans. He's good friends with John McCain. He was rational. He made good decisions. He spoke his mind. Nowadays, he just says whatever Trump wants him to say. He really has become an apologist for Donald Trump. And it's led some people like Senator Manchin, but also Ana Navarro on CNN the other night to really express some concern around where Lindsey Graham is. So let's take a look at that clip.
Look, I was so proud to be a supporter of Lindsey Graham. I hosted fundraisers for him. I traveled with him. I love this man. He was a truth speaker. He was a straight talker. He was John McCain's best friend. When I see what has become of Lindsey Graham right now, it hurts my heart. It hurts my heart because this is not the Lindsey Graham I know.
And you can tell
she was
really
very
upset.
choked up. Yeah. And
Yeah.
it makes me question, is there some kind of compromise on Lindsey? I mean, he seems to just be over the top covering for Trump consistently.
I'm beginning to feel like that might be true. Richard Painter, who's the former Bush ethics lawyer, published a story a couple of months ago questioning exactly this. How much dirt is there amongst on all these key senators for them to be behaving this way? And there's a lot of speculation around how much was hacked in the Republican Party and what secrets were exposed in the Republican Party. And there are many, many dark, dirty secrets we know in the Republican Party, and none of them would survive well if they were exposed. So
Dark secrets in both parties, not just the Republicans.
Of course.
Secrets.
There are dark secrets in politics, but in this case, they might be using some of those dark secrets to keep some people in check. And hopefully that isn't the case, Lindsey Graham. Hopefully, he's found some sort of moral compass and believes this is the way things should be, because that's what his job is. I suspect it has more to do with the fact that he's a very, very good reader of the political winds, and he'll wherever they blow, he'll go. And we saw this in the recent past with his change of heart on so many issues. Now, the other day, though, if you remember, in the Washington Post, this incredible. I'm here. Sorry about that. I pressed the wrong button. So Don Jr., he said this about whether Don Jr. should testify. You just show up and plead the fifth, and it's over with. You would have to be an idiot to let him testify again. I mean, this is the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee out there speaking, giving advice to the president's son for potentially protecting him from perjuring himself or admitting that he committed a crime. I mean, that's what he's basically saying is if you go there, they'll catch you in a crime. So you've got to go and plead the fifth so they don't catch you in a crime. I mean,
well,
to me,
is Lindsey aware of what's in the unredacted Mueller report?
I don't know, but somewhere in his transformation, he must have come to terms with who and what he was dealing with to have become that. But I'm sure he is aware of what's in there, and he might be aware of what else is out there that could hurt his chances. The whole hashtag, which was a big deal today, Lindsey Graham resign, hashtag Lindsey Graham resign, was started by Scott Dworkin, amongst others, from the Democratic Coalition. And Scott put out this really interesting tweet. This is from 2012. Is that? No, it can't be. No, way back.
20-ish years ago, Zeb.
I don't know why I said 2012. Oh, time flies when you're having so much fun in politics. But anyhow, Bill Clinton, remember him? He was being impeached. This is what Lindsey Graham had to say at the time on what is called Meet the Press.
He doesn't have to say go lie for me to be a crime. You don't have to say let's obstruct justice for it to be a crime. You judge people on their conduct, not magic phrases.
That's right, Mr. Graham. You judge people on their conduct, not their magic phrases. And he's been spouting no collusion, no obstruction, no conspiracy for the last few days. It's getting kind of annoying. So that's our last story. But we have some big news because today, Narativ joined Patreon. And it's a big deal for us because we need as much support as we can get to keep growing this enterprise that we're doing, all about truth. And do you want to tell people about the exciting offer that we have for 2 weeks if people join Patreon today?
Yeah, they just need to go to patreon.com/narrative. And there's 7 different tiers that you can choose from based on what you can afford, what benefits you'd like. They start as low as $3, and we even go all the way up to $500. If there's anybody out there that wants to support us for $5 to $100 a month, we will gladly accept it.
Yeah, I mean, come on, there's got to be some heavy rollers who believe in the truth out there. It can't be that only rich people don't believe in truth. Some rich people must believe in truth. So,
So, yes, and for the first 2 weeks, the 14th today through the 28th, we're offering special gifts as a thank you. And our theme is the truth and freedom, and we're thinking about the founders of the country and what it meant to them to be the United States of America. So we have created these stickers and postcards that have quotes from the founders, and they will be your special gift if you are a patron at $10 a month or more.
That's a great gift. So seriously, it's a good gift. You should sign up because these guys were radicals. These founders, they just weren't fooling around. They did some. They were out there. They were on the edge of what you might consider permissible conversation. Take a look at this one from Thomas Paine. Can you get a politician to say this today?
The duty of a true patriot is to protect his country from its government.
Boom. Thomas Paine. Thomas Paine had the words. Thomas Paine, common sense. So subscribe to Narrative on Patreon, and you'll get stickers and gift cards and whatever else we can give you. Not gift cards, cards.
And you'll also get a lot more of us. I sent a tweet out last night to everybody saying, beware, you're going to be seeing a lot more of me lately. And that's because we are dedicated to bringing you the truth full time. And that's why we're asking you guys to join us and help fund this mission on Patreon.
That is indeed correct. We're going to try to do this as often as we can, even if it kills us, which it kind of is. But we're having such a good time, and we're really thankful that all of you are supporting us. And that's it from Narrative Live today on Donald Trump Jr. testimony big day. We'll have the testimony live, of course, in June, whenever it is, the middle of June when it's up there.
June-ish. We'll go with June-ish.
June-ish. But we'll see you soon, right here on the internet. Good night.
Bye, guys.